Welcome to the Sleevy G Show. I'm your host for your most. My name is Gomez, and tonight, like any other good night here at the Sleevy G Show, I have not one but two special guests because here's the reason why. They are part of an awesome band from Kansas City. And I'm going to tell you, man, the sound is unreal. But further ado, I don't want to take much up of introducing them because they're here with me. But let's bring them in. The Sound and the Fury band, John and Aaron. Welcome, guys.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for coming on. Now, we do know you had a release of a new album, which, first of all, I have to say is a little dear, near, and dear because I'm Hispanic and Spanish. So, Momento Mori. I want to know who came up with the title of this new album.
John Floyd, you want to tell that one?
It was a long process for us. We had so many different options that to choose from. We ended up taking a vote, and that's the one that stuck. Aaron, I'll let you kind of describe how it even made the list of options.
So when he said we had a long list, it's really that I had about 49 different album titles.
But actually, 49. Actually, 49.
49. You didn't have the 50, but you had 49 straight.
Yeah, that's right. And I was really hot on this title because, now that we're all getting older, this is kind of like a revitalization of it. And we all have a different perspective in life. We feel appreciative of everything so much more. And the concept of remember, you must die, it was like, you can't put it off till tomorrow. You can't wait. You need to live in the moment right now. So secretively, I was always pulling for this title. And I just put the other 48 fluff ones in there just to distract. So they're really bad. The 48 were really bad.
All right. I'm going to ask you just name really one bad that would have been the title.
Oh, I don't even remember. John Floyd, do you remember?
Oh, man. Yeah, that'll be, but ask again before this is over.
Okay. As long as it's not Fluffy Bunny Feet album, we're fine. You know what I mean?
I think it was like Nexus. It sounded like car
Nexus
commercials.
was one. Yeah, one was Nexus, but there was one that was way worse. I'll think of one. I'll think of one for sure.
All right. That's cool.
Synergies. That was one. Then I realized it was a Police album or something like that.
I think it was actually, come to think of it. So, all right, I can see where this show's going tonight, which is great. I love it because you know what? I love it when you can be free and talk. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
The one thing I noticed that your album was released in May, so I'm a little late to the party, which I apologize. But the album is growing. The album is doing very well. I mean, I actually got to hear the whole album today, and I was very appreciative of listening to the album. One thing is working on an album, how long would you say it took you guys to write all the songs down?
Oh, wow. These songs came to us fairly quick. I know our singer, Jeff, had a couple of these songs already, scratch pad versions of these songs already kind of in the bank, and he just introduced them to us. So about half of it was ideas that Jeff presented. The other half was the ideas that we as a group presented to him.
Mm-hmm.
And so Jeff's down in San Antonio, Texas. So we had some challenges when we reunited of like file sharing and recording. So there was some challenges there to overcome because we're used to being an active working band in the past, having toured for years and releasing a prior album. So this album evolved so much differently for us. The project was a lot different, but it came together really quick. And as far as these songs, we have multiple tracks that we were considering recording, but when we landed on these and we went to the studio, knocked them out like lightning fast speed compared to prior projects, and it was really surprising. For example, one of the tracks, Freedom, on the album, we had just wrote that. What was it, John Floyd? We jammed on it a couple times, a couple of weeks before.
Yeah, like 2 weeks before we recorded it. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And we were so in the studio, we had extra time, which was unusual for us. So we were like, what are we going to do with this extra time? Well, let's just throw 2 more tracks on. So we ended up throwing Run on, which we already had in the bag, and Freedom. But those were afterthoughts. We were really just going to release a 4-album EP and just see how it did as a kind of put our foot back in the water and see what kind of reception we got. But these came very quickly. I think it was because of all the built up the years of lack of creativity amongst us. We hadn't worked together in years. Then getting back together, it just felt like, putting a glove back on or putting that. It was very comfortable for us.
Mhm.
So it was super fast. Also, we kind of had a inspiration from youth with our kids being involved now.
Okay.
My son plays in the band now, and John Floyd's son is contributing as well in multiple ways. So having that youth inspiration and seeing their excitement in it, because Gomez, they weren't even born when we were doing this
Right,
back in the
right.
day. They came after the fact. So that kind of re-inspired us too, to have that. And we feel like old men now. We're all sore and tired and old. We've John
Yeah.
Floyd, what we just played that show, and when we got off stage, we're all decrepit and dehydrated.
Yeah. Take a week off work after that. Recover.
Take a couple of days of work off. Hey guys, I'm sorry. I just played a show and I'm a little rusty, so
Right.
I got to kick it back on the couch for a little bit.
But it came across really fast for us as far as these songs.
Mhm.
We're hoping that the next batch, which we'd like to record before the end of the year, will be just as fast for us. But John Floyd, I said a whole lot. What do you think? Did they take too long for you?
No, absolutely not. It was right on time. Perfect timing.
No, great.
I love his reaction. Perfect, John. Now, you guys, like you said, you guys have been together for a long time. When did you guys start the band? Was it back in like 92, 93, something like that?
I think it was a little bit closer to 95.
Okay.
And I went to high school with Jeff, small town USA upbringing in a rural area. And Jeff and I connected. We had a couple different members on bass and drums. And then, what was it, 98? John Floyd, you
It's
joined
like
up?
97, 98. I came along. Yep. Yep.
So John Floyd joined up. We recorded our first album in 98. It had like 13, 14 songs on it.
Mhm.
And then 02, we put out another album, The Wisdom. And then another stage we put out in, I think, 04. And then we took a hiatus from 06 till just recently, till last year we played our first show again.
Now, I'm assuming the hiatus was because families are happening, kids were happening, I'm assuming. But I don't like to assume that, but
Sure.
I was just curious the for the long haul, is it because of families or stuff, or was it just because the creativity wasn't there? I mean, I know a lot of people take hiatus off sometimes and don't go back. Like I know, I'll tell you this, I was on another show called Playlist Wars. We started with a hiatus because our kids had two different schedules, and my kids are younger, they go a little later, so it was
Yeah.
easy, easier to do shows later, where he had a tough time, his kids were older. And now here I am solo a year and a half later. You know what I mean? So I'm not complaining, but
Yeah.
sometimes you
Yeah.
miss it. But I love the the interaction that I get with all my guests. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So kids did come into the picture early or towards the end there, right,
Mhm.
John Floyd?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then really we ended up having what we thought was like the it moment, to where like we're negotiating with record labels. It's about ready to just to break loose for us on a major scale. We'd
Mhm.
been touring for years, and then we got kind of we got, how do I say, we got told we had to wait a certain amount of period before we were going to be able to sign the deal.
Ooh.
And through record label business, the head of the label had lost his job. They were looking for a replacement, and they said, all right, wait 6 months and we'll have new fiscal year money budgets, and let's do the deal. And during that 6 month period is where we all just got, I think we were so burnt out from the road. We'd been
Mhm.
touring, and we were road dogs in the end, with 200, and I think it was 256 dates the last year we were touring. And those
Holy
dates, yeah, that
holy
was,
shit! I mean, there's 365 days in a full calendar year, and you guys were touring 256 of them.
yeah. And when you're
Oh.
in, when you're in Utah and you played, Saturday night, and your next show's, let's say, Vegas, you're not going home to play Vegas on Tuesday.
No, you're driving to Utah to Vegas and you're staying in Vegas for a couple of days.
Yeah, so there was a lot. I mean, those 256 dates, there was a lot of dates that we were on the road, not playing as well. I think, if I remember correctly, now granted, this is almost 18 years ago now, but if it was something like we were only home for about a month, but broken up throughout the year in 2 to 3 day stretches. So there was a lot of burnout, to be honest with you, because we did that, not to that scale, but we had been just doing music, no day jobs or anything, for 3 solid years. And it took a toll on us mentally, physically, emotionally. And then Jeff went on to go pursue a solo career, and he's still making music today on his own. Jeff Wood, you can check him out online on all the socials, internet, all that stuff that I'm not familiar with. I'm sorry, but
that's okay.
He's been doing his own thing for a while, but then we reconnected like almost out of the blue. I think our kids helped out. I think it was just like it was like synergies coming together.
It was the nexus of the band. No, it was, I left the band. I left the band in 2002 because I did start a family. I was the first guy in the band to have a child, and then I ended up playing in another band that ended up having a similar experience as the Sound and the Fury, as far as a lot of shows, a lot of work and dedication, time dedicated to it. And then you reach this point where someone's like, we're gonna give you a whole bunch of money to make music for a living, but you just gotta our thing, the band I was in at the time, it was you have to write 20 songs, it was like 20 or 30 songs, and then we'll sign you to a deal or whatever. And just you get so you've committed your life to it, and then you're just sort of like, I want to be done now. Like, I just want to take a break.
No, and I get you.
It was a little bit of burnout for sure.
I was about to say, everyone gets a little burnt out. Like, I know, I'm not saying I'm getting burnt out, but the one thing is, like, I'm constantly, even if I'm at work and during my real day job, I still have my email up to see if, people are emailing me, see what are some of the responses, see what other PR people are saying. You know what I mean? Like, I was blessed, like I said, like 4 of them actually contacted me, and here I am. I'm talking with you guys tonight. You know what I mean? Which is, for me, it's a blessing, because I guess now I'm being looked at differently. You know what I mean? Like, hey, he's actually really good, and he's a fun guy, and I guess word gets around a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I shoot from the hip. You know what I mean? I'll say, I'll save my few questions, and then we just BS about the rest. But again, it's interesting how a band gets together, though. You guys left for a little time, and look at you guys reunite with an explosive, as everyone says, but I think is more than just explosive. It's truly on fire, and everything is Alpha and Omega. The song, that's the first song I heard when Melissa sent me the link for you guys. Like, all right, she said it's explosive, I got to hear it. And I thought it was probably truly, like, I consider, like, great hard rock. Like it's been a while since I heard a good hard rock song.
Thank you.
And for me to say that, I'm not a musician. I am not a singer. I can't play bass. I cannot play drums worth of my life. I can't play nothing. I just love listening to really good music. So when I heard the sound, I'm like, yes, signed, done. Like, and that's me. That's what I love, because I love hearing the sound of what you guys have. You know what I mean? Like, you guys have rocked the stage, though, with some very notable bands that I love. Seether's one of them, Stone Sour, Puddle of Mud, and a ton more. Like
Chevelle.
I mean, like, you're talking about hard rock bands that, well, I mean, Puddle of Mud wasn't too hard, but they were hard enough. But still, I love their sound too. But you guys have something different when it comes to it. It's like I don't know how to say it, but it's just an amazing sound to it.
Thank you very much. We're gonna quote all of the stuff you just said, and we're gonna use this for months and months.
You're hired. You're hired.
Listen, as long as I get some royalties back to me here in Jersey, we're done. Yeah, we're good. No, guys, use it.
What's 10% of zero?
Zero. Or, you know what? You guys just send me some free stuff. That's all. I'll take it.
You got it.
But to to really go up the, to do a lot of those opening shows for them. I mean, that's still exciting to be in the same venue with some of these bands that you've played with. I
Oh yeah.
mean, like
Yeah.
everyone has their favorites, band. Me personally, I'm a huge Seether and Stone Sour and Puddle of Mud, but Chevelle too. Like I wouldn't even know who I would pick out of those four off the bat. But I mean, I probably would say Seether's one of them, and definitely Puddle of Mud because I did dig their sound. When you guys were touring, like who did you love touring with? I guess is the best question.
Oh man, I have a really crappy answer that John Floyd makes fun of me a lot. We didn't tour with him, but one of the nicest guys we ever met was Brett Michaels, to be honest with
Oh
you.
wow. Okay. Well, that still to meet Brett Michaels though.
Hey, John Floyd teases me every time. He's like,
I
"Can you
don't
come up with
tease.
somebody cool?" Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
I can
I tease
tell
you a
by the way you
little
breathe.
bit.
I can tell by the way you
Yeah.
breathe that you're like, "Oh God, here he goes with his Brett
You know
Michaels
what?
story."
I'm gonna tell you this. Once I get to releasing this, I am tagging Brett Michaels for you.
He was the
Perfect.
coolest guy. He was so chill. And I think we played with them in Springfield and in Kansas City. But it wasn't even with Poison. It was with some other band.
Yeah,
I don't even know
Yeah,
the
what
name
was
of it.
that called? I can't remember. I can't
American
remember.
Pride or something like
Yeah.
that.
something like that. Oh, now you got me wondering. See, now you're gonna make me. I'm gonna pull out the phone right now as we're
And
talking.
do a
Yes,
Little
now
Google.
I have to find out because now I can't remember.
But
No,
it's one of those things where you never want to meet your idols because you're always disappointed that they're just humans like you and we're all flawed and you build them. It's not their fault. It's
right.
my fault that I built them up to be these rock gods. Like I've thought James Hetfield is like the coolest guy ever. And then I'm like, but I never want to meet him. So he stays in that cool guy status. Right.
I
Um,
know the feeling on that one. Like, yes, I will agree with that.
but we're all flawed humans. And I think that even though there were so many bands that we came in contact with, I know Corey Taylor from Slipknot and Stone Sour.
Big
He
fan of
was a pretty
Slipknot.
he was pretty chill. And I remember one night we were on the road on an off night and we ran into him at the Brick or something in Iowa in Des Moines. I was sick, so I stayed in the van
Mhm.
drinking my brown bottled medicine, and the guys. It was the night that Dimebag died, or the
Oh
night
wow.
after,
Okay.
and he was in his local bar drinking, having a toast to losing a buddy, and the guys just happened to be hanging there, and they hung out with him all night, and drank with them, had fun. They came back to the van afterwards, and we're all rowdy and everything, and I was sick with the flu, and I was like, God, shut the fuck, like who cares? You should have been in there, Corey Taylor. He's the coolest guy, and we had played shows with him, so
Right.
there was that other connection. He was a really cool guy. Um, John Floyd, you have to help me out because there was so many bands that most of them you're doing business with these guys, so you're not like hanging with them in a friendship sort of way. You're kind
But
of
you're
two
still
ships passing in the night of like you're taking the stage, they're on after you, you're on after them. It's not always a hang moment.
no, I
A lot,
getcha.
a lot of times you're traveling to the next place or they're on the road right afterwards. And a lot of times the crew is cooler than the band.
The one I remember really well, and it just always sticks out in my mind, is when we played with Black Label Society.
Oh yeah.
There was a little bar in a suburb of Kansas City, Independence, Missouri. This bar called Neeners that we really cut our teeth there. Like it was we were very young. I mean, we were
Right.
probably 19, 20 years old, and it's a bar, like a true full-fledged bar, rowdy people.
Mhm.
And we
Rough,
we had to go
rough
in and
bar, rough bar.
kind of a rough bar. We
I
went in
love
and
it.
we won this crowd over, and had lifelong fans like that we built there, and Black Label Society rolled through and played a show there, and we got to open for them. And this isn't I don't want to speak poorly of this bar, but it wasn't like a well-renowned, like wasn't like a place in Kansas City that bands like to go play when they're touring. It was
Yeah.
just like a standard dive bar. They had a good burger, and like it wasn't.
I'll
They
go for
weren't
the good
known for their
burger.
music necessarily.
Right.
But yeah, I just remember, Aaron. Remember when we were like loading our stuff in, and they're like rolling in like pallets of Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, and we're like, what is all this beer for? They're like, oh, it was on his rider. Like his crew wanted all this beer, his band wanted all this beer brought in, and like we never get beer brought in for us. Like what do we do wrong, And then he had the big industrial fans that they set up in front of the stage so it could blow his hair,
and a chain guitar
Oh my
strap.
God.
It was just such a lesson in and not necessarily, like, and not even necessarily positive stuff. I might have learned more stuff I never wanted to do from that experience, more than I did stuff I wanted to do. But it was cool playing with that guy. It was cool. Like, he literally took a picture with me. I didn't know he was taking a picture with me. I was walking in carrying my drums and stuff, and somebody put their arm around me.
Nice.
And then said, like, say cheese. And I smiled, and somebody took a picture, and I look up, and it was Zach Wilde, and I'm like, okay, this is a weird experience. Like,
I actually have one with that. Friend of mine's band. The Fourth, they were a local New Jersey hard rock band. Trying to make it like everyone else was. And I remember they got the call to open up for Zach Wilde and Black Label's side. Well, actually, really for Zach Wilde, really, because he went on his own for that time, and open up for him at the Stone Pony on the summer stage.
Yeah.
So, the band members, I pretty much was like security / roadie / build everything up and stand in if I needed to, pretend I play bass and I couldn't play for crap. But like, I was blessed enough to say I was back there and I got to see him for a glimpse of a second. And someone took a picture. I was like this, like really quick, you know what I mean? But to see my friends rock out on the summer stage of Stone Pony and opening up for Zach Wilde, I mean, it was awesome. I mean, for me, it was like I got the pass to be in the backstage area. Like, I couldn't record the film like I was supposed to, so they needed me in the back. My buddy had suntan lotion coming down his eyes, and you can see he's squinting. He's playing the drums. I was just like trying to wipe his face as quickly as I can between each song. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
For me, that was like, wow, my surreal only time of a band member that I felt like I was a band member moment. You know what I mean? Except when they told me I can get $2 beers at the Stone Pony because I was part of the band. Yeah. He's like, he's with us. He's the roadie. So I was like, as I'm pushing amps all by myself. I'm like, I better get something out of this deal.
Yeah, at least I get those $2 beers. I think even, that's one of the cool things. I mean, I enjoy getting to go play live, and I enjoy like interacting with fans of the band, interacting with the other bands, like talking to them about whatever, like shows they've played, stuff they've recorded, the gear that they're using and stuff like that. But regardless of like the popularity level of someone I've talked to, like, they still have their own heroes and the people that they get excited to like watch. I just saw some picture. It was Taylor Swift playing in London or whatever, and like Paul McCartney's there and Peter Gabriel's there, and like, these are like legends of music that are like going there and being fans of hers, watching her play a show. And it's like, there's always even your heroes have their own heroes, and it's you're going to have these awkward moments for sure. I remember running into bands. I'd go see them play, and then I'd run into them after the show, like they're loading stuff up, and I'm a teenage kid, and like I would freeze. Like, I'd lock up. Like, I wouldn't know what to say to them. Like, hey, nice job, great show. And like, I kick myself now. It's like, man, I could have like talked to them about their drum set, or like, what was it like?
Did you ever get like the odd feeling when you meet those people and they're short?
Yes.
Like, there's a lot of short performers out there.
Yeah.
It is amazing to me. It's like weird. I never. So it's true for you too, John Floyd?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I can't believe how, like, if you're like in the music bit, if you're in, what do you call it? If you're an entertainer, like 5'10's the max.
Yeah, it's weird. We're taller people for sure. I know that, like the average height, I don't even know what it is in the United States or in our area here, Midwest, whatever, but we're definitely taller, but still it is like a very trend. It's like a trend for sure. That's way more short people that are popular entertainers.
I'm a tall person, so that's probably I'm better off as a podcaster, not as a musician. So maybe this is why it works out, because I'm sitting.
We got that review years ago. Some guy, was it Jason Alexander? No, not Jason.
No, that's
Something
guy from
Alexander.
Seinfeld.
Not
Well,
Seinfeld.
people have the same name, John Floyd.
Yeah, that's
Anyways,
true.
Yeah, that's true.
so it was something Alexander that wrote an article. He was like the Kansas City rock guy who wrote about bands, and he can make you or break you or type like as a teenager in our early 20s, we thought that. And having the title of the band, The Sound and the Fury, after the William Faulkner novel, which was horribly dumb that we did that, but still here today because it makes it hard to find us. But we open up the article, we're all reading it, and it starts out with, The Sound and the Fury, they look like they spend more time in the gym than the library. And we were like, oh man, but like looking back, I should have been happy about that.
Yeah. I would have been cracking up on that note. I would have been cracking up on that note just because that sounded actually really cool. Actually, when you think about it now, you're like, damn, this sounded really nice.
Today, I would love it if they would say that about me. And it's like you said earlier about doing your podcast and people coming to you and building the confidence in the show and it getting bigger and bigger. But your appreciation for doing it. That's one thing that I think John Floyd and I have now more than we did back in the day when we were doing it. Is now everything's gravy for us. Everything is, we never thought we would have this opportunity to get back together and, playing with Jeff again, playing with John Floyd again, playing with our kids involved.
Yeah.
I mean, we call it the Sound and the Fury family because we truly believe that. Jeff's got his kids who are all musically talented. It is inspiring for all of us to be back together again and to appreciate each other as human beings, flaws and all. And that's why some of these songs are the way that they are, because Jeff's always telling a story in his songs. He's always telling two sides of the same story. He tells opposing sides in the same song, or you don't really know where he's at. And he's got a monster of a voice that can fill arena with, and he can sing a hook like nobody I've ever known. I mean, in my opinion, of all the rock stars I've met, Jeff's the best singer. John Floyd's the best drummer that I would put him next to anybody to play with. And it's magical to do it all over again. And now that album title that you're referring to, it represents that to us, that we've got this opportunity back. And we're so happy to have it. So all the short people out there, I apologize. We love you too, and we want you to love us back. But it just happens to be, for whatever reason, we always got to.
I'm sorry, I couldn't stop laughing on that one, man.
I just had to throw that out because I realized you offend. So, like, we got that song, "Fuck the Earth," or even Alpha and Omega. It's so easy to offend people today. Like, back in the day when we were playing that biker bar, it was pretty much a biker bar, right? John Floyd Neener's Bar and Grill.
Yeah.
You couldn't offend anybody in that bar. And if you got punched in that bar, you knew you were going to have a beer with that guy afterwards, right?
This is true. Times have changed now. Now they smack you with lawsuits.
Yeah, and cancel you and all that kind of stuff. So like these songs that Jeff wrote, the lyrics to them and everything. I remember he's got a song called World War III.
Yeah, I was about to say about that too.
He's singing it in a satirical manner about that's what the military industrial complex is. It feels like that they want, right? And then people get canceled so easily on historically. Rock and roll and music is treated differently, in my opinion, than other forms of entertainment, that for some reason they think, devil worshiping goes hand in hand with a rock and roll song, a 3-minute rock and roll song, right? But yet a movie about devil worshiping is a great piece of art.
Oh, if you're talking about the Blair Witch Project, that was not a piece of art. That was a piece of trash.
Or what was that one where she threw up pea soup? What was the Exorcist?
Oh, The Exorcist. That was a work of art. That's a work of art. But if you say Blair Witch was a work of art, I gotta smack somebody in the head.
So the same person can love The Exorcist and think Alpha and Omega is like against something, right?
Yeah.
When really it's just storytelling on Jeff's part. It's just a perspective that he had in the moment. And I love that he has that ability to make you scratch your head and think, did he just say that? Did he just say fuck the earth?
Yeah, well, that's when I first saw the title, I'm like this. Really? Fuck the earth. Well, let me hear the song. Let me hear the song. But then again, it is a great song, though.
It sticks in your head. And when Jeff first presented that lyric and melody, I would literally, the ignorant person that I am was like, can you say fuck the earth? Is that okay to say that?
I can't
Right.
even. Oh, yeah. Are
I
you
get
allowed to
you.
say something like that?
I totally understand that part, because it's, I could see people coming after us a little bit now, but that's
Wait,
okay because that's more publicity for me. So
but
I enjoy it.
what happened to like the punk rock movement or the
Oh
angst?
God.
What happened to like the middle finger that was rock and roll?
What
Right.
about hip hop? Even including hip hop, though, if you think about it, look at the way everything is. Everything is so political now. This is what I dislike what's happening to music. So in the early 80s, 90s for me, well, I was more into the hip hop stage. I will not lie. My mom kept me away from Guns N' Roses and Metallica and all that stuff. I had to discover that when I was like 15 with a friend of mine. So I
Sure.
started getting into K-rock. So I started listening to Metallica, Guns N' Roses. I'm like, Jesus, why haven't I not been introduced to this stuff? Then, when I saw, and I'll never forget it. I remember buying the Guns N' Roses album, Appetite for Destruction. And I'm looking, well, I go, now I can understand why my mom kept me away from this CD.
Sure.
But then again, I'm like, it's only music. It's not like they're gonna tell me. Listen, I grew up as a Catholic school kid. I went to Catholic school, grammar school, all the way to high school.
Right.
I got married in a Catholic church, but it doesn't tell me I'm gonna worship devil or the Satan. You know what I mean? I'm just me. Am I
Well,
gonna enjoy the music? Yes, I am. Am I gonna sing it out loud? No, I won't because I don't want to disrespect anybody.
Not when mom's around. No.
No. Well, now at 44, it don't matter anymore. But back in the day, living under her roof, it kind of mattered. I had to hide my Snoop Dogg CD for Christ's sakes.
well, we've definitely seen a difference in the crowd, the youth of today. I'm hoping that some of the angst comes back because, man, when we were playing those shows, remember back John Floyd, like it was always there was times where you felt like it was about to break loose and we were gonna have to look for stage left exit or something, right?
Oh, sure.
We were,
yeah.
And today it's very chill. And granted, it's the same people at the show.
It's now, well,
They're just older.
20 years older.
20 years older. Think about it. All our knees, our backs, our arms are creaking.
Well, where's the youth that's all pissed off that they're not being represented? Because that's what we felt like, right? Like we felt like our parents didn't understand.
Right.
Hey, there's a hip hop song, right?
Oh yeah, parents just shout out to Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff there. Yeah, there we go.
But we felt like we weren't being represented, right? And doesn't the youth feel like that today? But where are they expressing that they're not being represented? It used to be that you went to a rock concert and you knew that angst was going to be a camaraderie amongst everybody there. I mean, I remember going to stuff like Ozfest back in the day where all the freaks showed up to that concert, right?
I remember going
is there anything like that?
No. Dude, the last Ozfest I went to, it was at PNC Bank Center here in New Jersey. It was in the middle of the pouring rain. And I'll never forget the fans were ripping the grass off the ground. Actually, I think it made MTV News.
Nice.
Actually, I think it made national wide news because when you see grass being thrown at Metallica and Ozzy Osbourne, there's a little bit of a situation. Or I think even Limp Bizkit at that point too.
Yep.
Yeah.
When they played Kansas City, Limp Bizkit got kicked off the tour. No, was it kicked off? What happened, John Floyd? Limp Bizkit got them to pull the lawn grass, and it made it all the way past the seats onto the stage, and they were throwing it at the artists.
That's what happened in Jersey.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Kansas City was New Jersey all over again. Just we started it.
But that's a memory that you're retelling right now. I'm telling you right now, like that's ingrained in my memory of a good time.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Reason.
I mean, yeah. But the funny thing is, like now it's the censorship, the politicals, well, I hate to say that, almost like the devil went down to Georgia kind of scenario. You know what I mean? Like they taking the power away from the music, but I still say rock on and rock hard. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's also virtual. It's also like you're living it through a screen, and you go to a show and they're all holding their screens up instead of watching it with their eyes. They're watching the screen of us playing, and that's kind of crazy too. I don't get it, but I'm waiting for that cycle to come back.
It will.
like that angst, that youth that's hungry for something that's raw. And maybe we're old, washed up, crusty guys playing
No,
dad rock, but
I don't.
but
I don't listen. I don't think guys like you play "Fuck the Earth" as dad rock at all. But I mean, but that's the thing. That's what's missing in the world right now. I'd say like guys like you, Slipknot, Stone Sour, Chevelle, Seether, just to name a few. You know what I mean? Like you're talking about. I actually, you want to laugh? I didn't get a chance to go to the Metallica concert here in New Jersey. So someone streamed the whole freaking show through TikTok.
Oh,
So
wow.
instead of paying $300 for a ticket, I was able to stay home in the crapper if I needed to, drink for free, and not worry about a line to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that I'm listening to, well, first of all, they are getting up there in age, but hearing some of the old songs like One, Turn the Page, Whiskey in the Jar, those are songs that you remember how they were played. And for being as older gentlemen that they are, they still played it the way they did when they were younger. And I got to admire that, you know what I mean? And I admire you guys are doing what you're doing now. But the thing is, you're doing it with your kids as a family. Not many band members, not many bands could actually say that.
yeah,
We're definitely lucky in that respect for sure. Yeah.
yeah. It does change though, like the antics before and after the show.
I can only imagine, you know what I mean? Listen, I can understand there might be grapefruit juices instead of beers or tequilas, but or Gatorades
Yeah,
or Red Bulls just to get the energy up, you know what I mean? But
it keeps you honest and it makes you a good steward because and that's maybe how we should have lived all along. Like you're being watched even when you think you're alone.
right.
So when you have your kids there and you know you need to be a good steward for their sake, and it's healthy for us. It makes us appreciate it all the more. But at the same time, I long for the rock and roll days of years past of all those great bands that you mentioned and more, that just, it was raw, it was live.
Yeah.
Even if they fucked up, it didn't matter because you were there in the moment, you were singing along with them. And you can't capture that through a phone, you can't capture that through a laptop.
No.
I mean, that feeling of being part of something. And, I think it's like we all have the tendency to be like overprotective of our kids, like helicopter. Even when we try our best not to be, we still tend to be that way.
Yeah.
And I think society is that over us, being like the nerf padded room for everybody and the cancel culture of it all. So I love the fact that these songs, like, some of them have that. It's not punk music, but it has that mentality, that little bit of angst in it, and you can hear it in Jeff's voice, and you can hear it in the lyrics.
Yes,
that he's questioning whether we're being fairly represented in society. It's not about government. It's just about, do we feel good about where we're at? And then you add the power of, John Floyd behind the drums, the guitar riffs that I fucking am amazing with.
Yes, you are. I will say that actually. And, but hearing you guys as a family I wouldn't even say a band, but as a family, that's a cool thing because, again, a lot of people can't say that. I mean, granted, Metallica might be able to, but that's drug-induced, beer drinking, bus flying on the air, all that stuff. And
when your teenage daughters are singing "Fuck the Earth," you're kind of like, "Oh shit, when did I get started?"
Yeah, I'll let my 7-year-old not hear that song. That's all I need her to say, and then I'm a dead man.
I made the fatal error of telling my kids, I've got 12, 14, 17, and 26. And I said, all right, here's the deal. You can't cuss in front of me unless you're singing a song. You can sing the song lyrics. So now they all want to listen to Jay-Z or crap. And I'm like, what did I start here? But I don't mind if they sing "Fuck the Earth."
So no, I get you. I mean, for me, my daughter, I have a mouth as a trucker because of where I work and what I do, and here. I mean, it's, fuck that, fuck you, fuck off, fuck this, what the fuck, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. It does come out of my mouth. Even like today, cooking dinner. Oh, what the fuck? What the hell's going on with the grill? So things like this, it tends to happen. But but that's human nature. Again, it's we're in America, we're not somewhere, and there's a dictator telling me I'm gonna get smacked with a $5 fine for every time I drop the F-bomb. But also I'm trying to keep an eye of a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old kids
Oh,
to,
sure.
my
See,
my son
I
says shit really well and fuck off.
see that's I'm glad you said that, because it's like you want to teach your kids how to use those words.
Yeah, you don't want them to sound like idiots when they start cussing.
My son, he's 3 years old. He is the epitome of, he's going to be the epitome of something. Either he's going to hurt somebody in football or he's going to be the next WWE champion.
Yeah.
Or he might be the next rock star. I don't know yet. We're pending how he gets older, how his voice goes.
I've got a daughter who we say she's either going to be the CEO of a major billion-dollar corporation or the head of her prison gang. We don't know yet.
That's my son right now. My daughter, it's either going to be the shining movie star because she's drama, or she's going to be the president of the United States.
Awesome.
I hope she is. And that means I get to pay no taxes. But if I'm alive for it, it's just one of those fun things that I'm just glad that I'm able to share moments like with anytime I'm with the kids too. And that's something I respect you guys, you and John, and everybody, Jeff too. It's just an amazing thing when you have your family together.
Yeah, and that hiatus we took, as probably crushing and painful as it was in that moment, me looking back and being the selfish prick that I was. Now, today, that all of us have these families and all of us have these kids, and the family vibe that we have around every single member and the generations, and my John Floyd's parents are still involved. My dad's still involved. My kids are involved. All of us have kids involved. That I wouldn't trade it for a world today. Back then, when shit was happening, I did not know the meaning of life. I was just a selfish prick. And today, having my family, that's the most important thing. And I can hear it in the way you're talking about your family, the most important thing to you, to be able to do what I love to do with the people that I love to do it with, including my own family. I'm a blessed human being, and I can't complain. Now, all them short people out there.
I love it. I love this part.
I could complain, but no, I honest to God, I think that John Floyd, is like my best friend in the world. Jeff, I wish he lived down the street. I wish we all lived on the same block. It feels like that sometimes, but it is something unique about these guys that, going to high school with them, growing up with them, now seeing everybody's family and seeing everybody who's different, and being accepting of that amongst all of us. I love it, man. It's truly like having family. And I did not know that until I got it back. Right. And now I'm appreciative of it, where in the past I was probably abusive of it as far as being a selfish person. So that's one of the, I hope you guys can hear that in the music when you're listening to it, that we have passion in what we're doing and the fact we love what we do.
And that's something I respect, because you hear it in the play, you hear it in the rhythm, you hear it in the drums, you hear it everywhere. And like I said, like for me, I appreciate everything that's happened to me here. You know what I mean? Like I work just as hard as the next person. You know what I mean? Like I get up at 5:15 in the morning, I clock in to go to work, and I come home at 5, cook dinner, spend some time with the kids, and then I do this. So this is like you said, this is your joy, and this is the time, and I appreciate it, because if it wasn't for my family, my wife and my kids pushing me to do this on my own, I would have never done it.
Right.
And if you have your support and your family supporting you to do something you love, that's like heaven, man.
It is. And there's days that we kind of argue, but at the end of the day, she sees I'm happy, and I make sure they're happy. And that's the key thing. And that's what I love the fact what you guys are doing, man.
You got to argue so you have makeup sex, man. That's the point of having an argument. Sometimes I just argue with my wife just so I can make up with her.
Yeah, well, when you have two kids, younger kids, it kind of is harder these days. No comment on that. I might have to delete that part.
Yeah, yeah, you might want to delete that from my
No,
wife too.
I'm not gonna keep. I want to keep it on. I still love my wife to death. She knows it. So if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here doing this, man. I'll be honest with you. You know, I'm blessed, just like you guys are. You know what I mean? My daughter pushes me like I'm pushing her now. She's a dancer. You know, this is
Oh
her.
man,
Yeah, yeah. She made the competition team this year, and
Oh, you're gonna be traveling. You're gonna
be
be
busy,
that's
boy.
traveling.
not this year. Well, I did travel for 3 competitions this year.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, one I didn't. My wife did. I made one because I took the day off not on purpose, but I needed to see her for once, for one.
right.
And then I zoomed, watched it. They were televising it on the internet. I'm like,
Yeah,
yep, I'm watching it because it's my daughter. So as I'm following along, everyone's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Shut up! It's my daughter's competition." And her
yeah.
team right now is in nationals. So next year there'll be some traveling.
Heavy
Wait,
duty
wait.
travel.
You're on the East Coast and the team's in Nashville?
No, nationals down
Nationals.
Oh,
nationals.
Nashville. I thought you said Nashville. I can't hear shit.
Shoot, listen, if they were in Nashville right now, you find me in center of town going ape shit, drinking beers everywhere, or drinking every single bourbon they have in every single bar. I ain't gonna. I love visiting Nashville anytime I can get out there.
I want to
Um,
go back too.
I remember before we did end the night, I remember going to Nashville for a convention for work, and this is from my old job. We stayed at the Grand Ole Opry. You know, they let
Whoa.
us. Yeah, beautiful hotel, by the way.
Yeah,
Um, Amazing. And Jack Daniels had a bar there.
it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Very dangerous because I am a Jack Daniels lover. And they had the infamous blue bottle,
Oh,
which,
wait. What's a blue bottle? I'm not familiar with this.
so this is like aged bourbon. Like, this is like hard to find, not sold anywhere but there.
Wow.
Yeah, a glass cost me $60.
Wow.
But I'll tell you, well, that was 14 years ago, 15 years ago, maybe. But let me tell you,
Yeah.
that had to be the best freaking whiskey I ever had in my entire life.
Best $60 you ever spent?
Well, now I could say it. I didn't put that on my tab. I wasn't stupid. I put it on my boss's tab.
Yeah. Make the company pay for it.
Oh,
Duh.
listen, I got away with a few things in the company, especially when they sent me out for training. That idea to tell the boss goes, "Oh, guys, drinks are on me." Yeah, I kept drinking. All right, I'm like, make sure you put it on his tab, not mine. You know, when they got the tab for like $700, they want to know what happened. I'm like, I don't know. I was just drinking on my own. Tab was like $20. So, John Aaron,
One of the perks.
yeah, one of the perks is, try to, hey, they're paying like Ebas did. Oh, guys, I mean, I can't thank you enough for coming on tonight. You know, Talking to you guys is just an amazing thing, and I'm very appreciative of you guys taking the time out.
Oh, thank you, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you. And one thing is, any tours coming up soon for you guys? I know you just played a festival not too long ago, but any tours coming up this year or next year?
So we're sort of we don't necessarily tour in the true sense of the word, but we will play a little block of shows here and there. So we do have some shows that have not officially been announced here in the Midwest, but 2 or 3 dates coming up in August that we'll be announcing pretty soon. So
Oh,
if
nice.
anybody is interested, find us on the internet.
On
Well,
those internets.
yeah, on the internet. So definitely. Well, I know where to find you, and I trust me. I will post up for you guys where to find you. So
Thank
don't worry
you.
about it. I know you guys got the Twitter, the Linktree. Don't worry, I'll hook you guys up when the show
Thank
is
you very
over.
much.
So, before we end, anything else you'd like to end with, guys, tonight before we end the night?
John Floyd, I
I'm
just want
just
to say
happy
I
to
love
be
you,
here.
brother.
I love you, Aaron.
Yeah,
And I'm
I love
happy
you,
to
man.
be here. And
Keep playing the drums.
you keep playing guitar
Shut up.
and don't get any taller.
For all you short people.
No, thank you, man. I greatly appreciate you having us on. And having this conversation with you, it's like I mean, this is the band jam room here. It's like we're sitting in here doing it, even though I'm staring at this camera. But like, this felt like a conversation, which I applaud you for that.
Thank you, man.
it was very comfortable. And
Yeah.
having done quite a few of these things, they're not always cool like this. So I greatly appreciate
Well, no.
how
Yeah.
cool you are.
Well,
That's cool.
that's the whole point of the show. I don't want to make people feel like, yeah, I don't like doing that. No, see that's what I think. I highlight a couple of things, I throw up a couple of highlights, and then boom, I go off. I don't even go
Yeah.
script. That's why I'm
Cool,
improv.
man.
So
Good approach. Good approach for sure.
well, that's my style. What can I say? Guys, thank you so much for coming on tonight. John Floyd, Aaron. Guys, check out the band, Sound of the Fury. Sound
Oh,
and the Fury. Oh, yeah, go
I
ahead.
do have one thing. I just wanted to say, fuck the earth.
Thank you. And I love it. We'll get the reaction sooner or later, but don't worry. Guys, check out the Sound of the Fury. I will be putting all their links up, Instagram, Twitter, everything that they have. Trust me, I will. Keep an eye out in August because they are going to be doing a couple of shows in the Midwest. And this will actually be released probably the first week of August. So we will
Awesome.
have it right in time, guys. So
Right on.
guys, thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate you guys. And as I always end this show, it's nothing but love, peace, and happiness. Good night, everybody.